Hi beautifuls, welcome back. We are here to dive into 2021 and the astrology and all your must knows. Now, if you haven't sub. If you do want to follow me and you feel this content relates to you individually, please write in the comment section how it does. I love to hear your feedback. Now, we're moving away from a very interesting 2020 and into a very unique 2021 that for a lot of us collectively hasn't happened on this planet before. And we are entering the air signs. We had both Saturn and Jupiter moving into Aquarius. So it is very much that Aquarian age themes coming through. So we're going to tune into this week up until the 8th. What will be coming up for you, what the planets are doing, and how they're going to affect you. Now this month we do have Uranus and Taurus going stationary direct on the 1st. We also have Mars transiting out of Aries and into Taurus, and that's occurring on the 7th. Venus is also transiting into Capricorn on the 8th, and we also, towards the end of the month, will have a Mercury retrograde. We also this year have 3 squaring aspects Saturn is making, which are quite major aspects of this year's astrology. The dates that that's occurring is going to be February the 17th, June the 14th, and December the 24th. Now we'll get deep into your astrology and tell you how this week up until the 8th is going to affect your zodiac sign. Let's get into your reading for January 2021 from the 1st through to the 8th of January. Now we do have a pretty activated 2 weeks moving through. This chart is for the first week of January through to the 8th. However, I will make reference to December 2020 and potentially even beyond into 2021. There is potential reasons why I'm going to mention certain things, and it's to prepare you for this transit. Towards the end of this video, you can scroll forward after listening to this very detailed report, house by house, day by day. It's 8 days I cover. And that way, for the tips, tools and tricks, it will be able to be streamed forward and back, but this information is as relevant. So we did have the full moon in December at the end of the year, which was a full moon in Cancer that does connect in to your 9th house placement. Now, it can be very Neptunian in energy from the 9th house placement, as well as Jupiter in energy. So esoterically, it was linked to both the 9th and the 12th house, but your emotions linking to this, your feelings, so this can be anything relating to your religion, your education, foreign countries, travel, purpose, spiritual viewpoints, paradigms. It can even be value systems inside of families relating to feminine energies. These themes might have been playing out, and a lot of things linking to when we did have the nodes in Cancer and Capricorn are going to become an absolute asset, providing you utilize them effectively in the month of January, especially moving into the beginning week, to really set that pavement down for that foundation for your future. Now, the eclipses that we had for you were connected to your 8th house and your 2nd house. Now, Sagittarius falls in your 2nd house. This will be themes playing out in 2021 and for the next 18 months, really. But major themes to do with your 2nd house placement can be playing out in the first week, and you're really needing to alchemize those because it is linked to Jupiter energy, old ways of doing things, thinking on those hopes and dreams. You're going to be implementing them, and Saturn is going to assist you over the next 6 months to apply them. If you don't apply them, you won't get the best out of the transit. The Gemini energy was falling into your 8th house, which was shared resources, joint ventures. It can be wills, legacies, inheritances, and things to that degree. But 8th house can be where you grow those things. So from the 2nd to the 8th, it's like now implementing that. What are you going to do to move forward with this ship, with this foundation, to effectively be prepared for where you want to be? And I will discuss the reasons why. So both Saturn and Jupiter moved into Aquarius last month. Well, it is playing out again this month. We will have Mercury entering Aquarius on the 8th. It is from the beginning of the month moving through Capricorn. So those themes relating to how you're communicating, how you're seeing things, what you're thinking versus what you're saying, information coming towards you can be accountable energy. Now, this can be government related dynamics, and it can also be, because it is falling in your 3rd house placement, Again, as I mentioned, what did we learn when we had the nodes in Cancer and Capricorn? These themes are playing out. It's here to be a spiritual test. Plus, with all this frequency coming through with both Saturn and Jupiter, we're being asked that if we want that stability, what are we going to do to make that happen? It's not only just dreaming about it now, it's about monopolizing on it, and it's going to require good old Saturn energy, hard work. And where does this fall for you? Your fourth house placement. So fourth house placement can be home, your residence. It can be subjects to do with your psychological foundation, domestic issues, endings. It can also be where you're helping individuals, and can it be to the detriment of you? But you learn a great deal from the fourth house, and it can be about routines. Again, similar to Mercury energy, your daily routine, getting things structured. Some people can also launch businesses directly from home, but I do see movement relating to, in the next 6 months for you, providing you put your best foot forward, things relating to home. Now, in next week's report, which will be available to you prior to that transit, we do have the new moon in Capricorn. So all of these Capricorn themes playing out this week are really setting up a tone so that you complete things, get things in order, so you can have that new energy coming through, and it is at the critical degree point. So being that it's in your third house placement, it can be tying up paperwork, tying up loose ends, making sure that you are prepared, bringing your studies, so to speak, into play, so that you can balance your life, whatever is coming up. Now, contracts and paperwork, following through with things, again, is going to be important due to the fact that this month, more towards the end, we are going to have a Mercury retrograde. So by launching things, starting new endeavors, you really have to be ready between the last 2 weeks of December, really, moving into the first 2 weeks of January to get the best out of that. Otherwise, you can find there can be some delays as it goes into shadow period by mid-month. So really paying attention to that, but also paying attention to driving. Making sure that you're checking your insurances and your claims and things to that degree, because it does relate to your third house placement. So it's communication. Do remember that this retrograde with Mercury will link to your fourth house placement. So get your home in order, become organised. Is there paperwork or subjects or contracts to sign? Making sure you can really finalise those subjects within the first 2 weeks. Now, it's not that it's a bad thing, but you will find forward movement with that, or if you're still trying to push with that situation, there can become difficulties and complications with that. Again, there can be things that break at home. It can be, again, because we are going to have squaring aspects to Pluto, Uranus and Taurus. It can be sudden changes at the first day of the month, really, that we don't expect. And because you do have both Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius, these things are going to be replaced, and there are benefits for finances coming through, but it's a really great time to clear shop when it does come to home and your routine. Now, this month we are having, by the 6th, an amplification of Mars energy. For you, Mars has been a tension point, and for all of us collectively. And the funny thing is, it really does connect to your 8th house placement. So wounds potentially can come up in this area, because we will have Aries and Chiron there for still 7 years. Which will give us an opportunity to actually be able to deal with that area. If you have blockages relating to wills, legacies, inheritances, feeling that you're directly connected with your family, being able to provide for yourself, or attracting, an energy into your life to get something out of your contracts, because it goes from the 7th to the 8th house placement, you'll be able to heal that over the next few years, and it won't be as heightened because we also had Mars in Aries. And this year, as I mentioned, we do have a theme in the first week where, as Mars transit is going to be transiting out of Aries into Taurus, which will be after the 6th, it can become intensified in that domain. So if you do have trigger points coming up or inflammation relating to that, trying to, really grab at these things, try and detach, try not to get triggered, keep working on, and know that that pressure in that one domain is set to have a very different turn of events over the next few years. But definitely what we do, at the beginning of this week, to set that foundation with all the Capricorn energy will make the world of difference, as well as launching projects, getting that paperwork in order, cleaning shop, preparing, really setting those new intentions and putting that best foot forward will help you get the best out of your whole year's transit. By mid-year, we are having retrogrades We're also having Jupiter transit back into Pisces. So we'll try and do videos related to that separately and launch them so that you can have the information. But you've pretty much got a 6-month window. Really, those eclipses that we had last year are amplifying and really pushing us forward like a slingshot. With Mars really in that 8th house placement, you're developing that. So if you feel it's really heated, it's because you're really forced to push towards that to get those things in order. The old notion of everything happens for a reason. Now, on the first day of the month, we have the moon, and the second, we have the moon transiting Leo. For you, this does connect in with your emotions relating to your career sector. Pay attention to what comes up for you around this time. It also can be strength, feeling like you've got to be strong all the time. Have a look at the reasons why that is. There could be emotions relating to that for you emotionally. It may mean that your job potentially may be out of alignment for you, but it may just be that you feel that you're on top of things. Again, really good time to do journaling, sitting with the energy and seeing what comes up for you spiritually. On the 1st, we do have Mercury in Capricorn sextiling Neptune and Pisces. This can be something that's really beautiful, and it can be flowing very conducively. It can be projects getting off the ground. If you're launching something, it can work extremely well, especially linking to media because we've got Mercury there. Technology, word of mouth situations can come through. Maybe somebody looking at a creative idea that you have. It can be art, can be a viewpoint, it can be a romantic situation really flowing, or something to do with children. Now, Uranus and Taurus going stationary direct can cause nervousness. This can relate to your marriages, contracts, partnerships. Try and really ease yourself into it. Try not to get almost like a deer in the woods coming out and a car coming in front of you. Pay attention to those wounds, especially linking to the 8th house. Now, we will have to face our shadow because we do have Black Moon Lilith in that domain. We also will have during the month more energy coming in relating to it because of Uranus and Taurus going stationary direct. By the 14th, that can be culminating it. So you can have sudden unexpected events occurring between the 1st and the 14th. They do happen quite suddenly, so I wouldn't be surprised if they happen prior to January. For that can be moving from one to another, shifting jobs, going up a level at work, more money coming in because it does relate to both Venus, agriculture, food, money, beauty, values, sharing of things, but it can be a transfer of things where money can come towards you separately. As Mars moves there, that will be more towards the 7th. You can have more energy that you will be pouring into that one domain. So you may be very focused on your connections during that time. You also will be looking at things from a perspective of responsibility. So there can be conversations coming up relating to such. Who does who, what does what, even looking at yourself personally, because we all have the sun there. It can become egoic, or it can be we've got the energy to do it. So it depends on how it lands for you. Now, I do see a lot of conversations happening on the first day of the month, as well as I do see endings relating to something, getting some information that may come to light that needs to be dealt with to bring things to a head. Now, on the 2nd, as I mentioned, we still have the moon transiting Leo, which can be emotions relating to your career. You may be communicating this to friends and to family members, maybe your feelings and emotions. Some of you might be keeping this quite close to your chest. But with the Sun in Capricorn making a conjunction to Mercury in Capricorn, it can be the burdens relating to it, and again, really paying attention to how you feel. This thing is, there can be a lot of movement. You may be extremely busy during the week, and even looking at those things. Now, the hard part is going to be that Jupiter and Mars are making squaring aspects, and that's pretty much for the next few days. We also have both Jupiter in Aquarius squaring Uranus and Taurus, and Saturn in Aquarius squaring Uranus and Taurus. So it's really making these push-pull energies between what we need to let go of, what the difficulties are, moving beyond it. And there may not be solutions right away, but it's really asking you to work through it. Don't quit, too early. And it can be this discarding frequency we have going on, that we're getting rid of things to move forward lightly. But we do need to be cautious of what we value, especially with the shadow energy from Black Moon, Lilith and Taurus. When it does come to taking situations for granted, maybe due to that amplification of Mars, just try and be patient in the first week. Okay, so on the 3rd and the 4th, we have the moon transiting Virgo. So for you, this connects to your 11th house, your hopes, dreams, and aspirations, your emotions coming up, maybe trying to make sense of everything, because it is a very analytical energy. It can be even what you would need to do, clean shop to make that happen, but you need clarity of thought. Try not to be perfectionist when it does come to that. You also might be tuning into the health of what those hopes and dreams are, and it can be health checks. So, and the reason I say that is because Virgo can directly relate to analytics and health. At times it can be analytical, so especially with the sun in Capricorn, it can be feeling like you have to do everything on your own. So just pay attention to that. Now, the squaring aspects are still occurring both on the 3rd and the 4th. So yes, the tension can be there. We also have Mercury in Capricorn making a conjunction to Pluto in Capricorn. So again, a lot of conversations. You can almost be, and I'm kind of picking this, he said, she said kind of scenarios coming through, your thoughts versus what's been said. Maybe trying to come to terms with something, but again, it can be information that comes in. Also pay attention to driving, because 3rd house placement can be linking to not only communication and technology and needing to potentially replace these things or wishing to. If you're going to do such and there are outdated devices you're dealing with, be cautious of the bigger picture. If it's necessary due to need to get to work or require that for, X, Y, and Z, that's different. It's an asset, it's an investment. But if it's just, being semi-frugal, but at the same time looking at the bigger picture, so both Saturn and Jupiter, looking at the bigger picture. Now, on the 5th and the 6th, we have the moon transiting Libra, which is your 12th house, and there's a need for balance. A lot of things that you're thinking. Sometimes you may be feeling you're seeing things like, why can't we all just get along? There can be a legal situation that you're tuning into. It might be a marriage. It might be a divorce, however it relates, but it's more to do with romance, I feel. Your marriages, contracts, partnerships, looking at those things and wanting balance, and maybe looking at it can be that you would be a great psychologist. Others, it can be the spirituality and the psychology, but what your actual hopes and dreams are versus what you're directly doing. So pay attention to the emotions and your viewpoints with this at this time, but you're trying to take a very, you're trying to be fair, and what do we say? There's a saying that's coming to mind. All is not fair with love and war. It's sort of like you can't be everything to everyone. You can't make everyone happy. So there could be this psychological analysis of that after moving away from the Virgo moon into the 12th house, where you may be trying to make nice with situations and there could be tension with other people potentially. But we do have, again, a lot of communication and needing to bring things through, and this could be really mucking with you. So there could be a direct situation that is really testing your nerves. This could be disputes over wills, inheritance. It could be shared resources, give and taking connections, due to the fact that we're going to be having Mars in the 8th house of shared resources, amplified almost to the 29-degree point, I do believe. So, paying attention to that so that you kind of take a breath. But adjust to it. It should pan out. The pressure is going away from that area. Then we also have on the 6th, we have Neptune and Pisces scoring the nodes. Now, again, creative endeavors, disputes potentially with romantic partners, with your artistics. And the reason I say artistics, it could even be your want and desire to have luxuries. 5th house placement can be fun and wanting to do that. 8th house placement is if, for instance, with Aquarius being in your 4th house, if I want to buy this house, what do I need to do? So, and it can even be details surrounding that, home renovations, the money to do such. However, it's directly landing on whatever that hope and dream is that you're trying to monopolize upon. The Aquarius transit to do with home is going to be your key to this situation. So whatever that is, getting your life back in balance, maybe living more locally to where you work, to your family, and having a change in that domain. Those changes are going to come, but yes, they are going to have work to have that done. So your views versus others' views might not on that day directly correlate. Now we're also between the 7th and the 8th having the moon transit Scorpio. So you will be looking at your emotions. You will be separating yourself from those situations and seeing your own personal viewpoint. You may be a little bit more protective of yourself on these 2 dates. And you can feel super great, but again, it's moon energy, so it's hitting your natal first house placement. You could be reflecting upon how people see you. You could also be viewing how you see yourself, maybe wanting to change your image, but pay attention to the emotions. I do feel with the Scorpionic energy, it is very much linking to the 8th house. It's like, okay, what's my position in this? What do I get out of this? What's the bigger picture here? Now remember, moon is emotions. It's not necessarily the 3D of what directly is happening. The 3D can be caused by the moon energy. How would I place that? The emotions can be coming because something is triggering it to reoccur. So, keeping that in mind. Now, we also have Venus entering Capricorn. So with Venus entering Capricorn, everything relating to contracts, you're going to be needing to take the bull by the horns, being accountable in that area. A lot of communication going on, a lot of movement. You also can be with Mercury entering Aquarius on the 8th, subjects to do with home coming up. Now the day before, we were having the moon in Libra at 29 degrees. So again, your emotions can be quite heightened when it does come to your psychology. Mercury in Capricorn was at 28 degrees. So by this point, it's even higher. So a lot of communication, a lot of movement, well beyond the pivotal point. Paying attention to that is going to be deeply important. Now, to do with your creative pursuits, potentially doing things that are feeling more conducive to you, spending quality time with people that you feel you directly resonate with, doing something nice. This can be a theme on the 8th, but we do have Mercury in Aquarius squaring Mars and Taurus, and it's kind of understandable because it's only just moved into that level. So both with your communication, your movement, there could be subjects going on at home. So with you trying to give to everyone, there can be some complications and there can be dramas on that day. Value systems as well could be quite different, so it may not feel so great. You may be thinking about what to do. Okay, how do I bring this together? And there can also be problems relating to, okay, I want to do X, Y, and Z. Do I like this job? I want to do X, Y, and Z. I'm living with this person. How do I resonate with this? But it's sort of like mapping it. So it can be thoughts and conversations, but there's difficulties relating to both of the energies. You're trying to be a lot, I would feel, on this day. We then have a beautiful aspect, which is Venus and Capricorn trining Mars and Taurus. So when it does come to communication, you will find communication's okay, but it'll be talking, thinking, mapping, not necessarily getting it done. Don't give up. Keep moving through it because you will get benefits from those areas, but we do need to kind of adjust to it and map it out. But it is the action that's really going to count. Now let's get into your must-knows for this week to navigate the first week of January. First point of call, Uranus and Taurus going stationary direct, expect the unexpected. Even if you are to expect it, I don't feel we're ever really prepared. And it can be about not being too attached, knowing that you have all the tools in the bag, both with the Cancer Capricorn nodes we had previously, as well as our life. When we're preempting things, it's natural if we create a map. It's quite natural to have a New Year's resolution, but moving into circumstances that's really uncharted territory, we can't expect to know everything. So it's quite natural that, spiritually speaking, and both astrologically speaking, Uranus and Taurus does bring the best to us. Initially, our ego may feel that it's not that best thing, but they are things that occur to shift us collectively. Either you directly changing it, changing your mind, or circumstances happening to shift that. Now, it does relate to your marriages, contracts, partnerships. Expect the unexpected. 8th house placement of Mars. The intensification of it will amplify frustrations relating to it. You can get to a point that you can try and have patience in that one domain and continue building. The pressure point is coming off it. It is going to benefit you. A lot of what you learned already through Aries and Chiron and Mars retrograde is going to be able to be applied potentially if we can stay grounded. Now, as it increases, it can increase in speed. So it may mean those areas come up to be dealt with, and it can be a lot of paperwork involved. It can also be quality controls, looking at the bigger picture so that you can re-navigate that course if something needs to be changed. Home-related dynamics can be in for major changes due to the fact that we have both Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. Now, also any creative projects, birthing of children, that can come by mid-year. And again, you can already start getting ready for that. Some of you, it may mean that you're preparing to actually do work from home. It can be ways that you can launch it, but it can also be a super social house. So this can be where your home becomes a party house, and it's just a very busy environment. A lot of people's needs, a lot of people's ideals, responsibilities relating to that. Or potentially if you're moving, it's like the responsibilities linking to it and what you would need to do to make that target. Romance, marriages, contracts, partnerships are set to have major transformations. A lot of it we are looking at with Venus in Capricorn is, okay, how can we build upon what we have? And that is placing these learnings and moving it forward. Subjects to do with children, if you have children, can come up. They can be beautifully aspected. Some also, as I mentioned, by mid-year, can be actually launching new businesses, having children, and tapping into that co-creative energy. Very separately from a chakra system, the Capricorn transit can bring about base chakra. So a lot, if you're getting lower back energies, obviously anything medical, please seek medical attention, a professional. But from an astrological point of view, base chakra can come up. Food groups relating to that, crystals, guided meditation can support that domain. Now, because you do have 4th house placement with the Gemini energy, throat chakra, and that can be when it does come to your sharing. And when I say sharing, 7th house placement, marriages, contracts, partnerships, dealing with anything at a shared level, building things, legacies, etc. Even if you're speaking to people about wills and legacies, inheritances, really using your throat chakra and speaking your truth. So you can do guided meditation using crystals and having faith and trust in that. And you're really guided to, with it being the North Node, there can be a lot of development in that area, as well as trusting thyself. And I would definitely say sacral chakra and solar plexus to really amplify that. With the Leo moon moving forward in the next 2 days of January, heart chakra activation and third eye. With the Virgo energy, great time to have health checks. Emotions can be linking to this, so a good time to check in with yourself, get grounded, get everything in order. When the moon transits Libra, again, getting our diet in order, getting our health in order, looking at things balanced. I do feel as well, because Uranus and Taurus can at times have a lot of 12th house frequency coming through. Guided meditation with the crown chakra and keeping your fluids up. Now, as for creative projects and launching, best time, first 2 weeks moving into 2021 and first 2 weeks into 2021. After that, expect delays. Mercury shadow in Aquarius relating to your 4th house placement can cause some tension there. So anything home related, you might have paperwork missing. Make sure your bills are in order. Make sure that you have got your home organised. Make sure you know what you're doing, the week after, and expect it to be bedlam. And the reason I say that is everything always does go pear-shaped, especially linking to technology. So you may experience a issue with the device at home, or needing to move home, or having to get that contract signed, and there's delays and misunderstandings. The people that you're communicating with at home, there can be that in technology as well. Now, if you do have any questions, please put them in the comment box directly below. I do read all of your comments. I'm happy to give you feedback in relation to any questions you may have for this transit and your zodiac sign. Now, if you do want me to cover a chart with you and a love interest, you and your work domain, or anything that you feel that you're really struggling with or wanting deeper insight into, please go to the booking box directly below. Thank you also for your donations. The donation box is below. Thank you for your likes, your comments. And should you want more content like this, please click the subscribe button. Thank you to my newbies. Thank you to all my fellow subscribers that have followed me for years. I love you, Scorpio. I'll see you next week.